In this segment, we're going to take a look at the Auto Border tool, and the Auto Border tool is found over here on the left-hand toolbar. Now, before we can create an auto border, I need to create some type of embroidery object, so I'm going to go ahead and just create a couple of embroidery circles. So I'll create a little ellipse, and then maybe I'll just add another shape up here and another shape about here, something like that, just a cute little shape. And I guess the first thing I'll do is show if I select just this one circle right here, and then I'm going to choose the tool, which is called Auto Border right here. When I turn it on, I get this Auto Border properties box. And basically these are the choices. What it's going to do is it's going to create a new object. And so I get to decide, first of all, do I want the new object to go towards the outside or towards the inside? And then I get to set the distance. So I guess a distance of 0 would create a new object exactly around my shape. But if I added, let's say, a distance of, I don't know, 4 millimeters. And let's say we go to the inside. So to the inside, 4 millimeters. When it says repeat, that means how many new objects. So one new object, 4 millimeters to the inside. And then we have the choice between either a satin stitch or a running stitch. And if we choose a satin stitch, what width do we want the satin stitch to be? So for example, I could choose to have a run line. That is one new run line, 4 millimeters to the inside of my circle, and I'll say OK. And so you can see, if I look closely, there's the new run line that was set 4 millimeters to the inside of this circle. Now, another example of using that tool would be if I used my select option and just drag a box to select all 4 of those objects, right? Because I've got this circle, I've got that circle, this circle, and I also have the new object that was created for this run line. So I've got 4 objects selected. And now I'm going to choose the Auto Border tool. And this time, okay, we'll go to the outside. Maybe we'll set the distance at 3 millimeters. We'll have one new repeat, one new satin stitch at 1 millimeter wide, 3 millimeters towards the outside, and I'll say OK. And so if we look closely, what you can see is it created a new satin stitch border that goes around all of the objects, and it's set 3 millimeters to the outside. Now, maybe I'll say undo and try that again. So everything is selected. This time I'll choose Auto Border, and I'll do it very similar to the outside. We'll go a distance of 3 millimeters, but instead of one new object, what if I ask for 4 new objects? And again, with satin stitches that are, let's say, 1.5 millimeters wide. It's up to you. Say OK. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 new objects that were created, and each object is set 3 millimeters apart from the last one towards the outside of the shape. So I think you're starting to see where you can really create some very interesting effects using the Auto Border tool. It's also a very handy utility tool for creating borders, additional objects that match the shapes. There's just lots and lots of different ways to apply using this tool. Perhaps I could show it with some lettering. So why don't we just start a lettering object and put in my name, Trevor, and then I will, let's see, what will we do with this? We could use it to just add a border right to the outside, although there's very little difference between I could add an outline to this just simply by clicking on the outline. If I wanted to have a red outline, I can just click on that and get a red outline. If I wanted it to be smaller, I could bet it be 0.4 smaller. But what if so I'm going to use undo, just put it back to normal. Auto Border would be the ability to not only create an outline right around those letters, but to put it to the outside. And so, for example, if we said, well, let's create a new object that's 2 millimeters to the outside, one new object 2 millimeters to the outside in a run line, and see what it looks like. So it creates it now. Oh, I thought I asked for a run line. Is that? Oh, it is a run line. And you can see here what it did. Now, it didn't obviously like the inside of the E, so I got some funny stitches there, but I could just go to the Edit Shape Nodes option and come in here, and it looks like what I would need to do is either modify the shapes of these by, I guess I could add a node right there, and then this one would probably need to be created to a curve or something like that. Or what might be just as easy would be to drag a box around all those nodes and then just delete them. So there we go. That looks better. So the idea is, and we could have created 10 new outlines around the word Trevor with that auto border and created sort of a shadow effect to it. So the auto border tool has all sorts of very interesting and applied uses in the designs and embroidery. So yeah, that's the auto border tool. It's fairly straightforward. Basically, you just select an object, turn it on, and decide whether you want to go to the inside, to the outside, the distance that you want to move towards the inside or the outside, the number of new objects that you would like created, and whether you would like those to be a satin stitch or a run stitch. And that's it. So that's the auto border tool.